Hi guys, and welcome to my review of the ISN audio. This time the H50, a 1+4 from them. Anyway, let's just get through the box here quickly just to show you what it brings. Usual packaging that ISN has gotten us accustomed to, which is just like electric blue. Open up. Very simple, I mean, in terms of the actual structure of the box, nothing special. What it does bring is good accessories, a good amount of different tips and actually there's one more over here, sorry. So I'm actually using these green ones, but it brings a nice assortment of tips. It brings a nice case, usual, that we've already seen not only in their products but with other brands. Nice case, okay. It brings obviously a nice cable, which is to be expected. I mean, ISN is first and foremost a cable manufacturer. This cable is actually the S8, which is a silver-plated copper cable from them. Doesn't tangle, nice malleability to it. It's a really nice cable. And then of course the two IEMs. In terms of build quality, nothing to be said. I mean, for the price of $295, this is what you are expecting, which is a good quality resin shell. It's got that vent hole there, as you can see, and you can almost kind of see inside more or less where everything is sitting in terms of the drivers. Beneath the well, it's got a metal nozzle, as you can see, and beneath the grill you can almost make out the three individual tubes which divide the sound into a three-way system. This is so it's got two BAs for the highs, two BAs for the mids, and one 10mm composite diaphragm dynamic driver. Impedance is, if I'm not mistaken, around 25 ohms, so it's neither hard nor easy to drive. Sensitivity is 108 dBs, so again, neither hard, neither high or low. It's an IM that you can scrape by using a dongle. If you connect it up to your phone, you definitely will not get anything out of it. So you can get by with a simple dongle, but it needs a proper amp. It needs a proper DAC amp for it to really shine. And if you give it that, trust me, this is quite impressive in terms of the performance that it can deliver. The H50, well, is actually the first of a change in terms of tuning philosophy for ISN. I actually reviewed recently the H30. Its younger sibling, so this one here. That one again also different tuning design for ISN. Not so much that V-shape signature, but more of a neutral type of signature. And the H50 was actually the first one to depart from that more traditional ISN signature. And I have to confess, I have to admit that when I initially looked at the graph, I was like, okay, let me see what this sounds like, because graphically, when you look at it in terms of its graph, well, the measured graph at least, I'm not talking about the graph that ISN supplies, because that graph obviously is a graph which they are using definitely a different measuring rig than what I'm using. I'm using an IC 711 coupler. So the measured graph of this IM is not exactly something that you would say is appealing or that attracts attention, and it's yet another case of looks can be deceiving. What it graphs and what it sounds like are two totally different things. Anyway, before I go any further, in terms of fit, perfect. I mean, there's nothing, absolutely nothing I can falter. It's got the long nozzle that already is something which they have in the H30, and they have as well in the Fan 2, the Penon Fan 2, which you can consider the Penon IEMs kind of sisters or siblings to the ISN IEMs to a certain extent. There's also the serial, which I just received the serial, and I was actually going to include the serial in this review, but I decided to give it a few more days to listen to it a little bit more in detail before I come to any sort of conclusion. Although my initial impressions are very positive of the serial. So what do I have here? So in terms of accessories, it's fine. In terms of fit, isolation, weight of the IM, so any wear fatigue or anything of the sort, it's fine. It's perfect. There's nothing absolutely to point out. So solid in that aspect. So physically or in the let's say mechanical side of things, it's positive. It's 100%. What did I bring out here to compare with the ISN? Well, I could have used a whole bunch of 1+4s. I could have had the high senior, the Mega 5P. I could have had the Manga T2. I could have had the Fusion from Seek Real, the JK Audio 4Q. I could have had quite a number of IEMs. I just decided to keep it down to 4, which I think kind of will be suffice to set the stage and to position this and let you guys better understand where this is positioned. A full Performer 5, it's been all the rage now lately. Okay, our audio Awur, so that's a 1+4, that's a 1+6. Yan Canon. It speaks for itself, its reputation. And then obviously the ISN, the H50. They are divided into two very distinct groups. We have a group here which is the more, let me say the more audiophile correct group, which we can consider these two. Okay, this is the more audiophile correct, where you would also find things like the Manga T2, where you would also find things like the Mega 5P from High Senior. Okay, so that's that group over there. And this group is the more high energy, fun and engaging group, where you will also find in this group something like the Seek Real Fusion, where you will also find in this group the JQ Audio for the 4Q, where you will also find things like perhaps the AudioSense AQ4. So they belong to this more fun and engaging, warmer sounding kind of IEMs. Okay, so H50. What is the H50 about? As I mentioned just a few minutes ago, when I initially graphed it, because there are IEMs that I listened to straight away because of the, let's say, the excitement of getting them. But most of the times, I like graphing IEMs just to make sure that they are fine, that there's no real channel imbalances or anything of the sort. It's just my way. Okay. The first thing that gets you when you put the ISN into your ears and you start listening to it, it's the dynamics of the bass. The dynamics of the bass are the first thing that jumps to you. It's very, very. It's super fast, super clean. It hits you. It kind of, imagine a BA, that quickness, that almost feel of impact, cleanliness, okay, but with the body of a DD. That's the thing that the H50 has. It's got a really hits you hard in the face kind of impact on the bass, coupled with highs which are energetic, but they're never too much, or at least I never found them to be too much. If anything, if there is any real criticism that I could put, is that I would have liked a little bit more highs. Maybe it's a sign of my 50 years of age and I'm becoming deaf. Could be, but I actually, there were occasions when I said, a little bit more highs wouldn't have been bad. So amazing bass, really nice treble. That's never really too much in my opinion. And then it's got these mids which are how can I explain? These mids are, they're emotional, okay? They are mids that, obviously depending on the song that you're going to listen to, but they convey this sense of emotion, which is very unexpected. So they have this almost, how can I explain? Yeah, emotional. They have this emotional warmness to them, which makes them, at least for me and in my personal taste, very, very satisfying. They've got, those of you that know that I collaborated with the XINHS Across Erasmus, and those of you that did buy that IEM, you will surely understand what I'm about to say. It has a very neutral sound, but it's neutral, and it's at the same time it's super engaging. It's super, it's got this physicality, this warmness, this emotion to the mids, which make it very engaging. And this is that taken a step above. I think that's the best way that I can kind of describe. Okay, so it's an IEM that the H50 is an IEM that benefits very much from giving it power and from really giving it some volume. At low volumes, I will not deny that sometimes I was kind of okay, it sounds fine, but but the way that it scales and the way that it picks up life and it picks up this momentum as you crank up the volume is just unbelievable. I did all the listening basically just with the TK2 and with the with my Frankenstein using the AKM 4493 with the NX7 as the amp. And in both instances, I had the volume cranked up all the way to 3/4, easily, and it handled it like a boss, like no issues, like bring it on, baby. That kind of attitude. Amazing, simply amazing. I could not have been more impressed by how well it was able to do that. Coupled to that sound this sound description that I've given you, it then has really good technicalities. Detailed retrieval, I would have liked to have been a little bit more, but that's just me personally. I think it's got more than capable detailed retrieval. Soundstage, top, perfect. Imaging, again, top, perfect. Nothing to be said there. It takes basically it doesn't take basically, because this was actually the first one, but this is a very good precursor to what the H30 does. The H30 is this in a more modest package, in a more modest presentation. So that again kind of gives you a description of what the H50 is about. As compared to then the IEMs that I selected, how does this match up? Is it better? Is it worse? This is very much a side grade to those two, the Awur and the Aful, the same way as the Canon was already a side grade to those. It's not that this is better or that those are better. No, it's they have different design philosophies, different design tunings being their objective, but they all do everything very good. It's I guess you could say it's 4 different ways of making a chocolate cake. Of mixing the ingredients in a different order, but the end result is chocolate cake, and it's good in any one of these cases. It's really good. The Aful, we already kind of know what it's capable of. The biggest and the main calling card of the Aful, besides obviously an amazing performance, is the fact that it's got a price of $219. Prior to this, the only IEM that kind of offered this kind of performance, or performance similar to this, was the High-Senior, the Mega 5P, at the same kind of price, and with the discount coupons that that I have available for those of you that are interested, you can buy it for around $200. Okay, and the Aful came and kind of turned the hybrid market upside down. It offers a very nicely done mutually signature with a sub bass focus. It's got crazy good sub bass, The mids are impeccable, clean, detailed. In terms of sub bass, there's a little bit more there than there is here in the H50. But in terms of bass impact, the H50 just walks all over the full. It walks all over it. It's got this crazy mid bass impact, like that area there between 60, 70, which basically is where most music kind of ends. Below that, it's there's not much, but that area between 60, 70 hertz and around 300 hertz, this thing he hits you, wow, like wow. So in terms of mid bass, yes, this is superior. Sub bass rumble more there. Mids, they kind of they trade blows. Honestly, they really trade blows. And highs, I'm going to give the highs to the full. I like the highs on the full more. In terms of technicalities, again, they trade blows. They're very very equal. With regards to the AUR audio, the AUR, it's very much the same situation as with the Performer 5. Crazy good sub bass, more sub bass, ultimate sub bass. Really, that rumble, you got more there than what you have here on the H50. But then you do have a very capable mid bass, which is a little bit more than on the Performer, and it's just enough to match the mid bass slam that you have here on the H50. So in terms of mid bass, they match each other very nicely. Mids, again, very nice. I would say that in female voices, I actually will give it to the AUR. There are certain female voices, they just come out, really amazing on the AUR. And then technicality is the same situation again as the Performer 5. They kind of trade blows. Ultimately, yes, this has got a better detailed retrieval, just like I like, and that's where this would need some improvement. As for the Onion Canon, the thing about the Canon is it's got those switches that you can adjust. I did most of the listening in the 010 setting, which is a setting that doesn't kind of boost the bass. It kind of maintains the bass more neutral and gives the mids a nice warmth, and the highs as well doesn't boost them too much. If you do 011, it will boost more the highs and maintain the bass as it is more neutral. If you do a 110, it will boost the bass, and if you do a 111, everything is boosted. Basically, that's in a kind of a nutshell the description. So 111, everything is boosted. 000, everything is kind of more neutral. 010 gives you that, at least for me, that sound that I like, which is it's got more than ample bass. Oops, sorry guys, sorry. More than ample bass. I mean, this is unquestionably the one that's got the most bass out of all of these. Not only in terms of rumble, but mid bass, everything. The mid bass here, yes, does match the mid bass on the Canon, but in terms of sub bass and mid bass, the Canon is the one that takes it home. Mids, very equal here to the mids of the H50, and highs. I'll give it to the H50s because the highs there can on occasions, and for example, if you do run the last setting in the one, you will notice it definitely, but the highs on the Canon can on occasions sound a little bit too much. They can be a little bit, I'm not going to say aggressive because aggressive is a strong word, but they can be very energetic, okay, very energetic. And here in the ISN and the H50, everything is nicely is kept within that just the right amount. Let's put it that way. In terms of well, the comparisons, that basically says it all. The only thing that I haven't mentioned is in terms of timbre and tonality. In terms of timbre and tonality, the ones that are the most correct ultimately are these two. That's my opinion. These two, in terms of timbre and tonality, male, female voices, instruments, everything, these two are the more correct. These two are less correct, but they are less correct because they are also more fun, more differentiating, especially the tuning on the H50. It's one of those IMs that honestly you have to listen to it to really begin to appreciate it. And it's one of the few IMs that I actually, and I don't listen too much to movie soundtracks, and I actually listen. I have got one or two selected in my playlist, and I actually listened to it, and I was like, wow, like really wow. Scherzo for X-Wings from John Williams from Star Wars. You have to listen to it on the H50. Honestly, you really do. The theme from Schindler's List, that emotion that I was talking about, the mids. I mean, yes, those two do have that emotion. Do that they can convey that emotion, but of the H50, I don't know what it is. I don't know what sort of crazy voodoo magic they did here. It just has a very it's really engaging. Obi-Wan Kenobi from Star Wars, amazing. Raiders March, the Crystal Skull from Indiana Jones, again amazing. In terms of sound music, Don't Leave Me Lonely from from Mark Ronson and Yeba, unbelievable on the H50. I mean, I'm not saying that the other three don't do it well. No, they do it well. Trust me, they do it well. I was just not expecting it to be this good on the H50, and it kind of I had to listen to it a second time and a third time, and like wow, and then put on the others and give it a good comparison, and I was very impressed. Chemistry of Love from Michael Franks, again amazing, does it really well. Ultimatum Disclosure from Fatoumata Diawara, amazing. Mediterranean Sunrise from Andrea Razwati, again also really good. Please, I mean, keep in mind all these songs that I'm mentioning are songs that any one of these IMs do it in a very capable way. I mean, they sure as hell should do it for the price they are. I mean, like I said, 219, that's around 350, that's about $380. This is almost 300 to 95. So they all do it very well. It's just that these songs in particular, they are demanding. They can be quite demanding, and the H50 did them all like a boss. It did them all like a boss. I would actually say that I'm not going to say that it does all genres well. No, I'm not going to say that. But for all of the stuff that I usually listen, no complaints. Really, no complaints. And like I mentioned, only on few occasions, did and this is when I'm doing just normal listening. I'm not doing any sort of critical listening, but for only in few occasions did I actually find that the mids in the awur or in the performer were better in terms of female vocals. Yes, if I want to do some more critical listening and go and find the okay, fine, then yes, those two will definitely do it better than the H50. But for the most part, everything the H50 was more than capable. And the H50 does do one thing better than those two, which is it scales better than those two. Again, I repeat, you give this thing some serious power, you will be impressed. In that aspect, this reminded me of the Tenai-Fi, the P1 Max, which is an IM that, again, I say, hasn't received much love. And I think it's all honestly just down to the fact that it's a planar, and a planar needs power, people. I don't care what other people say. I don't care that oh no, you can get, okay, fine. I respect them. I say I don't care, but obviously I respect them. My experience and what I have seen myself and I heard myself is you give a planar power, it's going to shine. Some shine more than others, but it's going to really shine. It's really going to come alive. And this thing is the same thing. This, in that aspect, it comes alive when you give it some power. Okay? It scales in a very capable manner. Anyway, guys, I think that's more than enough to talk about the H50. Do I wreck it? Yes, I do. Obviously, I tell you to see if you can listen to it. Find a way. If you are in a place of the world that has IM stores and so on and so forth, and you're not unlucky like I am, then obviously, have a listen to it. Don't just go and dish out your hard-earned cash. Have a listen to it. But one thing I can say, and more, I can say this with confidence. I am becoming a real fan, not only of ISN, but of also some of the Penon audio IMs. At least the 4 that I have tried up to now, I'm very happy. I was honestly not expecting the level of performance. And especially the fact that they have tried a different approach to tuning. And this is something that I've said quite a few times, which is, if you're going to try something different in terms of tuning, That's all. That's fine. But do it properly. And ISN has done it properly. H50, top notch. H30, top notch. They've done it really well. The Penon, the Fan 2, again, top, beautifully done. These are all signatures which stay away from the more conventional Harman style and so on and so forth, and they are doing it properly, the way it should be done. Okay. Anyway, guys, as always, like and subscribe. Any questions that you have or anything, please feel free to ask, and I'll show you the graphs now next. Okay. You take care then. Bye bye. Hi guys, and welcome to the graph section of the ISN H50. Straight away, this is the graph of the ISN, and yes, I have to admit, and I'm sure you will also agree with me, that when you look at the graph initially, you feel that okay, something is definitely off. All right, fine, that area there, we can attribute a certain amount of this peak here to a couple of related issues. The pin again is somewhat strange. It's a little bit down here on the 2K area, so it's a little bit on the weird side, let's put it that way. Extension past 10K, that's fine. And then the way this whole, it's not so much this area here until, let's say, 100 hertz or anything, or 200 hertz, not this area. It's just the way that this is done here. So we have, let's say, an unusual amount of energy here between 250, whereby 250 you should be down, let's put it at flat, corresponding here to what the 1K area is. We have this we still have this amount of energy here, so let's call it this triangular section here, which has got this energy which is kind of weird. And then we also have this kind of unusual way of doing the pin again. All right, and so by looking at it, obviously you will be kind of tempted, or you will be straight away thinking, oh, this is going to sound weird, it's going to sound strange, and the truth is that yes, when you initially listen to it, especially at low volumes, it does sound unusual, but it doesn't sound unusual and wrong. No, it sounds unusual but good. And that's the thing that perhaps in this particular case I shouldn't have done, because if I had listened to it without graphing it, I wouldn't have had that bias or that thought in the back of my mind, because the reality is this. And I actually then gave the earphones to my wife and asked her to listen to it, and she liked them. She had no idea what the graph was. She hadn't seen the graph. I just told them, just have a quick listen to this here, and I gave her a few other earphones first. Some of them were those earphones that I've also have in this comparison, and then I passed her the ISN, and she liked it. She said it sounds very energetic. It's got a lot of impact. So this is a classic case of the graph doesn't correspond to what you actually hear in reality. And once you start actually increasing the volume, the way that it scales is even more favorable. It scales in a manner that the fact that we don't have this excessive amount of energy over here. And actually, if we look at it, I mean, from here, from the lowest point, okay, to the highest point, so 85 roughly, there we've got about 90, we've got 5 dBs there, 5 dBs, okay, so the majority of the signature is within a 5 dB window. So the fact that it's within a 5 dB window, I think, is very much responsible for allowing the H50 to sound in this very engaging manner, because if we had a variance here between the lowest and the highest point of maybe 10 or 12 dBs, then it would be, markedly a V-shaped signature, and it would sound completely different. Anyway, this is the H50. I don't want to carry on rambling here. This is the full Performer 5, and again, everything sits within a very tight window. We're talking about a window of so 80 to 83 roughly, to 80 to 90, so 7 dBs roughly, give or take. And this area particularly here, you notice a big difference between the H50 and the P5, let's call it that way. And then yes, you do notice that for some reason there's just more detailed retrieval. There's just more, you know, the twinklies and the sparklies, like I like calling it, on the Performer than they are on the H50. As compared to the AUR audio, AUR, very much the same situation, although I do find that the H50 has a little bit more extension, and you do notice just a tad little more extension past 10K, but it's very much very similar to the P5. Actually, if I just put the two together, so you can see they very similar, the way the bass is done, everything. And then the Yanin, the Canon, and this is the one that's the bass monster out of all of these. And again, looking at the graph, you wouldn't perceive this. You wouldn't think that the Canon has this amount of bass or is as clear as it is up top. And this is the setting of 010, because if I actually use the other setting, which is the 110, which emphasizes the basses slightly even more, this has got even more. Actually, let me just put both of them so you guys can see. So, although apparently there's only like a dB, 2 dB difference there in the bass, when you actually hear it, trust me when I say that there's a lot more bass on the 110 setting as compared to the 010 setting. And the 010 setting for me just sounds more balanced, and that's why I use it. So I'm just going to keep the 010 setting. Okay, again, just for the sake of trying to explain how much bass quantity the Canon has, when I put, for example, the AUR audio, AUR, or the full, the Performer 5, it seems like they've got basically the same kind of mid bass and you know, low mids and everything. It seems like this is all very similar, even more extension in the rumble area, let's put it that way, like I like calling it. And the truth is, no, the Canon does justice to its name. It is a true Canon in terms of bass, the quantity and the amount of rumble that it has. Unreal. But compared to the H50, yes, the H50 does have it doesn't have more. It's out of all of them, it's probably the one that is capable of keeping up the best with the Canon in terms of overall impact. And again, you know, you look at this graph and you wouldn't. It's definitely a case of an IEM that has a graph that doesn't look, let's say, appealing, and it performs just like a total beast, Anyway, guys, this is the graphs for the graph section for this review. As always, like and subscribe. Any questions you guys might have, please feel free to ask. I'm always open to answer any questions that you might have. And yeah, that's it. Take care. Have a good one. Bye-bye.